What are you saying, my brothers? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm D, and it's the Future Fathers FF podcast. Yes. I have a next one for you. Bros, how you doing today? What you been up to? You know the usual, How you been? My brothers, what you been up to? I've been at work. I'm sure you's lot been at work or doing your thing, trying to get your money in, trying to get trying to get life running good for you. Yeah, me too. So how's things? How's things at home? You alright? You good? Because I'm good too. I'm alright, my brothers. I'm good. Excuse me. As I said, I need to get coffee or something, man. As I said, my bros, I got a good one for you today. Well, I think it's a good one. I think all my episodes are good. I'm not going to front. I think they're all good. Some could be better than others, but, that's a life, go. Anyway, bros, today, I want to hit you with some important stuff, yeah? Not that other things aren't important or what we talk about here is not important, but this is important. This actually is important. So my brothers, I want to know how many of you, were taught how to deal with stuff in school. Now I hear you saying, what stuff? Hey D, what stuff are you talking about? I'm talking about life, because when we go to school, we get maths, English, science, all of these different lessons, languages, we've got all of these different lessons that we get taught at school. But school, what should I say? Right, we all get taught these lessons at school, and they're all lessons that we're supposed to take forward in life and, develop skills with and use to the best of our abilities. And there's no life lessons taught in school. Now, the only thing I can say I was taught in school, I had home economics. That was what it was called, home economics. So one lesson a week, we got to cook food. Yeah. Now, as you know, I like to cook food. So for me, it was brilliant. I got to come in once a week and do my thing. As a youth, thinking, I'm dope. These times here, man wasn't dope. Man could do rice and chicken, but when the man them don't know how to cook and you're the only one able to do that, it's mad. Okay, so home economics is what I had. The youths nowadays, I don't know what they got, because it come like school's not preparing them for outside. School's not doing that. Now I don't know how we as parents, allow our children to go to school, and we don't want them to mess around, because we want them to get an education. We want them to be well educated so they can go on in life and get a decent job, or they at least can function as decent human beings. But the joke is they're not taught how to be decent human beings. Not at school. That job there falls to us as parents. I very rarely see taught in schools. Well, actually, not in schools. This is not taught in schools. They don't teach cooking in schools. There's not a lesson where children are actually taught how to bake. In nursery, maybe, but it's done as a fun thing. It's not a task where you need to learn how to prepare a meal or anything. Them things there come later on in life. I saw them say. But fathers, I'm pretty sure a couple youths out there whose parents are not really about like that. Them youths there need looking after, don't they? And I know it's fully the responsibility of the parent to look after the child. I'm well aware of that. But if the parent's not doing it, the child should then be made capable. Yes? Right. Who's going to do that? Because there's no parents at home to do that. So, where school steps in for education, because we're not necessarily allowed, well, we're allowed, but it's it's kind of looked at like, oh, you homeschool your children? Okay, you must have brains then. No, it's not about having brains. It's just about how you teach. I never got that, because how do you pass exams? Like, your mum or dad is your tutor. That's very anyway. Yeah, they're not taught cooking in schools. They're not taught how to, clean and keep somewhere clean and tidy, and they're not taught about personal hygiene and things like that. I know this is a parent's job, but we're talking about teaching the children life skills, going forward into the world as a productive human being. Yeah. Now, I don't know about you, but I know about me. I do my job at home. How many of you do your job at home? Probably all of you. Yeah? So, we're doing our job, but the school's not doing their job. Now, discipline is something that is taught in combat sports, sports in general, and at home. Now, discipline is something that is very transferable, because if you have a disciplined mind, you're able to push through quite a lot of different things. Discipline is not taught in school. Now, I know you might be thinking, but how can you teach discipline at school? Are we not talking about these children's futures? They're going to be going out into the world, and a lot of them are going to want a job. A lot of them are not going to work. Some of them are not going to want jobs. They're going to want to work for themselves. But having that discipline to sit down and say, right, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I have to get there. This is what needs to be done in between. We, or should I say my generation, yeah, we kind of had to, we learned that. We was put in a position where, yeah, you know what, you're going to learn responsibilities and you're going to learn this, that, and the other. It's a mindset. It's a disciplined mindset, because children are going to be going to work, as I stated already. But they're not taught how to keep to schedules. Yes, they're taught routines through school, but how many of them actually want to be there? It's a routine. The discipline factor comes in after, when they go to college, and there's nobody then telling them, oh no, you have to be here. You have to get up and go. There's no one waking them up and, well, my missus still does it. She gets the boy up in the morning when he's supposed to be getting up. I often say to her, do you know what? Leave him. Because he's not going to learn that he needs to be on time and he needs to be somewhere unless he's forced into that position. I was, and best believe, my brothers, I wasn't late. Because I knew if my mum got any kind of phone calls in that I wasn't at college and that's where I was supposed to be, jeez. Now, the boy gets the exact same treatment. But my mum wasn't waking me up. This is what I'm saying, it's a disciplined mindset. It's just like going to the gym. If you know you're supposed to be in the gym, or if you want to train, if you want to get big, you know you have to train. In order to train, you need to be at the gym. That disciplined mindset is what separates people from going to the gym and saying, oh, I will go. Do you understand what I'm saying now? Discipline is not taught in school. They're taught a routine, or should I say they're given a routine. They're not even taught how to stick to it. They're not given the right tools. And then we step into the wider world and they're not taught about finances. You know, the one thing that I think America got right, yeah, is teaching children how to drive in school. It's part of their curriculum, because eventually they're going to need to be out on the road. Now, I know America's a very, very big place, and you kind of need a car to get from one place to the next, but it's not everyone has a car. In England, here, It's not like that. They're not taught how to drive. It has to be a choice. I want to choose to drive, and I'm going to go and do my test and blah, blah, blah. There we go again with that discipline mindset. If you're not ready to say, right, you know, I'm going to go through this and I'm going to blah, blah, blah. I'm going to take the test and I'm going to go through my lessons and take the test. Like, come on. We all know what it is, bros. We all know what it is. These life skills that our children need, they're getting from us at home. But you have to remember, where do they spend most of their time? Outside the house. They're not even in the house. So how can you teach them? You can show them by performing the actions that you need to do. And then they're going to see that and be like, right, this is what I need to do because I see mum or dad do that. But would it not be reinforced coming from school as well? Of course it would be. Of course it would be. They're not taught in school, as I said, finances. I kind of hopped from finances onto driving because I feel that's important for life. But finances, they're not taught how to handle finances. They're not taught banking. They're not taught how to save. Nobody is encouraged to take out a pension plan. I know I may be talking a little further ahead in life, but these are the things that I think they need to know. Depending on age and everything and circumstance and whatnot, but these are the things that I believe they need to know, and they need to be taught them earlier on in life because there's situations that happen that are out of their control and out of your control. Life happens. So whether we want to say, oh yeah, do you know what, it's all right, they'll learn anyway. Yes, they will learn. Yes, of course they will learn, they'll live. But why not give them a helping hand? Why not give them, as I'm saying on this podcast numerous times, why not give them the correct tools and then teach them how to use those tools? If they then pick them back up later on in life, at least they know what they're doing. If they don't want to pick them up, that's entirely up to them. But they've been given the skills and the tools, they know how to use them. I mean, we test children on flipping maths, English, science, all of these things, but we don't test them on their knowledge on how to save money. I may be talking about children a little bit older, like from their teens, so secondary school, you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's not going to be little children we're talking to about these things. But actually, no. You know what? You do teach children from they're small. It's just different lessons at different points in time and in their lives. Because some develop faster than others. Some are able to retain more information than others. It's entirely up to us. But as their parents, we have to be able to say, right, you know what? You need this, this, and this. Look at your own life. That is the perfect example. Look at your own life and say to yourself, what lessons would I have benefited from that I didn't get? And what lessons did I benefit from that I did get that I can now pass on? And I'll bet you any money, bros, you'll find that there's a lot of lessons that you didn't get taught that you definitely would have benefited from. Why would you not do that for your child? Why would you not put your child in the best possible position they can be in any time in life? Of course you would want to do that. You'd be silly not to. As a parent, I'll say all the time, it's an obligation. It's an obligation for us. We're obligated to help our children. Yeah, it's not oh yeah, I should do that, or I'm gonna do it. You have to do it. They're your children. They didn't ask to be here. You gave them life. You brought them into this existence. You're responsible for them. And yes, they will get older, they will leave, but ultimately they're still your children. they're the world's children, but they're your children at the same time. I don't want to discourage anybody in saying, "Oh, do you know what? These are the lessons that children need." But these are just a few points that I picked up on myself, because I was sitting there and I was like, "Bro, what skills do we share? Like, apart from, cooking and, hair tips and cutting your hair and things like that. Yeah, those skills are brilliant knowing them. But what skills do we actually need? We all need to know how to save money. We all need to know how a household operates, whether you're single or not. We should all be made aware of what is needed of us in our family dynamic, at work, and in the wider world. Well, not necessarily the wider world. That's where you kind of find yourself, and that you kind of find what you have that you can contribute to the world. What I have that I can contribute to the rest of the world is my podcast. All you dads listening out there, all the mums listening out there that are single, that are trying to find, ways of dealing with their boys, their daughters. That's exactly what I'm contributing to the wider world. Information. My experiences. Because there's nothing better than somebody that's gone through something that is able to give you insight into those kind of situations. Sometimes you might not want to hear the information, but it's needed. Yeah, it's not a case of, oh, well, you know what, I wish I knew. No. If you knew, then you more than likely wouldn't be in the position that you're in. This is what I'm saying. We want our children to be in good positions, but we don't lay down the correct foundations for them when they're younger. And then we question why their lives are not as good as we want them to be. Or we question why they haven't gone down certain avenues of work or different career paths. There's so many different things. And we have to remember, these are our children. We want them to be great. We all want our children to be great. Not every human being is going to be great. But you know what? We can all push our children for greatness. Or should I say, we can all push for greatness and instill greatness into our children. You don't have to be a millionaire. You just have to be a decent human being. You don't have to have all the things that, you want in the world. No, it's not necessary. But what is necessary is making sure that your child is and has what is necessary for them. Information. That's necessary. That's fundamental to them. We tell them that they can do things. We tell them that they can't do things. But giving them the correct information can always put them in good stead. This is why I brought this up, and it's only part one. Because I'm going to get my brother in on this, and I'm pretty sure somebody else is going to have something to say. I'm going to get a couple other brothers in on this as well. I'm going to see what they've got to say as well. Because don't say that. I don't understand how the school system is in place to teach our children and to give them a better education than we had. But the school system doesn't teach them how life actually works. I know it's not there to teach them how life works, but, and there is a but, it can prepare them for the world a lot better than it does. Imagine, they're not taught correctly on consequences and actions. Now that's a big thing. Parents, we do it all the time. But as I said before, it would be better if it was reinforced by school. Yes, there are consequences and actions that happen in life, circumstances out of our control. But if the children are given information and they're taught that if this happens or if you do this, there is a possibility this can happen. They're more informed. I don't necessarily want to say, oh yeah, you need to teach them about jail, and if they commit crimes, they're going to go to jail. Listen, yeah, them things there is going to happen anyway to certain people. Not to everyone, but some people. And giving our children the information, look, brothers, you know your children. Some children, you tell them something and you tell them not to do something and they don't do it. Some children, you tell them not to do something and they go straight towards it. Information at the right time, as I said. It's easy for me to sit here and say all of this because my two are big. But the funny thing is, I'm only reflecting on what was. I wasn't taught certain skills in handling money, but the lack of that in me is more abundant in my children, because I know what it's like. I know how it is not saving, so I've taught them the importance of saving. Having that being reinforced in school would have been a big help. Like they're what you call in America their senior year. Yeah, just before they leave. It's year 11 in England. I ain't been to school for years. Neither have my children. So yeah, year 11 when you finish school. These are the time when they need to be learning about things like this. When they need to be learning about your finances, consequences and actions, discipline, how it's transferable throughout the life. Domestic, it will be in, or should I say, having domestic skills. There you go. These are things that children, and I say children because they're not adults, even if we give them the title adult at 18, they're not adults. Not until you're in your 20s are you an adult. I used to say this all the time, even well into my 30s. When I was in my 20s, I'd be like, you know what? In the eyes of the world, I'm still a child. When I got to my 30s, I was like, okay, now in the eyes of the world, I feel like I'm a teenager. Now I feel like, okay, yeah, he's kind of getting a grasp of it. He's in the early stages of, or should I say, he's in the middle stages of learning, or the latter stages, just after early. And it wasn't until my late 30s I actually felt like an adult. It wasn't until until after 35 I was like, you know what, yeah, I'm a big person. And there were skills that I wish I was taught earlier on in life that I wasn't, but I've tried to do my best with my sons. As I stated already, if a lot of these lessons that I'm talking about were reinforced in school in their last year, instead of concentrating on the exams that they do have at the moment and the exams that they have given people over the last however many years, some of that stuff some people just don't retain that information. Some people's intelligence is not that high. Some people they're not academic like that. Some people do better, just working and actually learning through work. Some people are better off not using the skills that they learned in school. And some people are quite brilliant using the skills they learned in school. But ultimately, the skills that they need for life are not taught to them in the institution where they're supposed to be learning and being prepared for life. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I really don't. I hope you kind of catch the drift of what I'm saying, or at least you're like, do you know what? I can get with some of that. Or even if you disagree, I think that's a bit bigger. If you disagree, then please, my brothers, let me know, because, or people, let me know. Parents, let me know whether you disagree or agree with the fact that schools do not teach children life skills. They educate them in academics, but not everybody is an academic. Or should I say, not everybody is academically inclined. I fully understand, and I am aware that the system they have in place is, I don't want to say it's necessary. Well, actually it is. It is necessary, because without people being taught the education that they're being taught, we won't have world leaders like we have now. Well, actually, that might be a good thing. We don't have bankers. We don't have scientists. Or should I say, we wouldn't have high bankers and scientists. Politicians, not necessarily, because I don't understand how politics is not taught in schools as well, or college. You're responsible for a nation. You should at least have common sense. But I digress. Things that need to be taught in schools are not taught in schools, man. They're teaching them things in school that they're going to forget when they leave. They're not going to use. They're not going to utilize until later on in life. Brethren, let me tell you something, yeah? I reckon, or not I reckon, I know one thing that helped out a lot of brothers that I knew in school: maths. I'll let that one simmer for a second. Because maths is dope when it teaches you how to fraction and multiply and subtract, divide and times. Or I know guys who done stuff outside of school that's made them better at maths, and the maths has in turn made them better at what they do outside of school. So for me, brothers, maths is one thing that is, maths, you kind of need maths anyway. That's a given. You need maths to be able to add up your money and things. But you're not taught how to handle money. You're not taught that you have to be somewhere at a certain time for a certain amount of time before you can leave and go back to your life, so to speak. You're not taught how to handle different situations and interact with people. Or should I say, they're not taught, because we're talking about the children. Yeah, these are all life skills that they need to operate under the guise of humanity. These are all things that they need to know to leave school and feel prepared for the world. But they're not prepared. They haven't been prepared. I wasn't prepared. And the schooling system hasn't changed that much. Yeah, there's different things being taught. They've added new things to be taught, but nothing that is fundamental to actually live in your life. So I don't know, man, how they're going to get around this one, whether they're going to get around it or not. I doubt that very much. I doubt that very, very much. I don't think the school system's not going to change for a minute. They've got it how they want it. And I say them because it's the powers that be, innit? I can't go into a school and just be like, no, teach them this, this, and this, because it will be better for them in the long run. The teachers might agree, but there's a set curriculum. They can't deviate from that. So I don't know how we're going to get around this. I know how we're going to try and get around it by doing the best we can at home. Because that's ultimately what we got. Our home. We can teach them what we need to at home, but once they leave, those lessons are theirs. Those lessons are theirs for them to take and do with what they want. Whether they learn something from those lessons, we won't know until they're adults, until they're big people out in the world doing their own thing. And adult is a term that is relative, yeah? Because I'll tell you why. You may have a child that is over 18 and they are considered an adult, but they don't have adult behavior. You may have a child that is just 18 and their mannerisms and their behavior is more adult-like than people in their 30s. When you're grown, that's different. Yeah, when you're grown, you think differently to a child. You think differently to a teenager. Our children need to be taught lessons in schools that are benefiting them when they leave school. Not necessarily be given tests that only measure their skills by somebody else's standards. And the skills are not necessarily all transferable. We're not all taught how to speak to each other. We're not all taught how to operate in the wider world. And the children are not being taught what life has in store for them. We do that as parents. Schools should be helping us, but they don't. My brothers, I think it's up to us. Lead our children into a better future so they can do the same for theirs. My brothers, I've been D. It's the Future Fathers FF podcast. Thank you. Stay blessed.